Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, Assistant Ministers as well. Bulavinaka and Namaste. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise in support of the 2026-27 National Budget under the theme, A Responsible Budget for a Sustainable Future. At the outset, I acknowledge the Honorable Prime Minister and congratulate the Honorable Minister for Finance for presenting a budget that responds to Fiji's fiscal realities and the current fuel crisis while supporting sustainable economic growth. I also wish to express my appreciation to the Permanent Secretary and his team for a balanced budget. As Minister for Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations, I welcome the budget's strong focus on productivity, skills development, and employment. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2026-27 National Budget responds to ongoing fiscal challenges through prudent financial management and strategic investment to strengthen productivity and long-term economic growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget promotes fiscal responsibility by ensuring public funds are invested efficiently in initiatives that create jobs, boost productivity, and deliver lasting benefits to all Fijians. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honourable Minister for Finance has challenged every ministry to do more with less through good governance. This means embracing innovation, digital transformation, efficient service delivery, and stronger performance to maximize the value of public resources. This aligns with the Ministry's mandate to improve productivity and through skills, technology, and better workplace practices, delivering better outcomes through smarter service, stronger partnerships, and greater accountability. Mr. Speaker, sir, responsible fiscal management is about safeguarding the future by balancing today's priorities with long-term investments in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and employment, ensuring that the future generations inherit a stronger and more resilient and prosperous Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget supports private sector growth through sound economic management, workforce development, and labor reforms, with the Ministry continuing to promote productivity, decent work, and a competitive economy. One of the most significant reforms is the decision to recalibrate the NTPC levy, Mr. Speaker, sir. From 1st January 2027, 50% of the levy will be directed towards training and skills development, representing a substantial increase in investment in our workforce. Mr. Speaker, sir, it demonstrates government's recognition that addressing Fiji's skill shortage requires sustained investment in the development of our people. It will enable more workers to acquire industry-relevant skills, improve workplace productivity, strengthen innovation, and remain competitive as industries continue to evolve. Mr. Speaker, sir, before outlining the Ministry's priorities for 26-27, I am pleased to report that my Ministry utilized just over 92% of its budget, translating public resources into tangible outcomes for workers, employers, and the people of Fiji. This reflects prudent financial management and effective implementation of our mandate to promote decent work and sustainable employment for all. Since assuming office, the Ministry has delivered significant reforms to strengthen Fiji's labour market. We revitalized the Employment Relations Advisory Board, restoring tripartite dialogue between government, employers, and workers, improving the toxic work environment which we had inherited, while progressing comprehensive labour review. Mr. Speaker, sir, Employment Relations Act 2007 and the Essential Industries Act were both aligned to international standards and restored the rights of workers. The retirement age for civil servants, Mr. Speaker, sir, was increased from 55 to 60, and the contracts were converted into tenure. I think this was a sigh of relief from all civil servants when we implemented this, because prior to that, the imposed contractual appointments had no guarantee when they would go home, and many casualties are out there. Mr. Speaker, sir, the civil servants also received a 10 to 23% salary increase, which is the highest ever without a job evaluation exercise. Mr. Speaker, sir, the last increase, of course, before that was in 2017. So there was a 6-year drought. We increased the national minimum wage from $3.67 to $5 per hour within 3 years, a 36% increase. And the 10 wages, sectorial wages also increased by $1 per hour. Mr. Speaker, sir, we expanded employment opportunities through job fairs, workplace attachments, incentivized apprenticeship scheme, and the like. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is correct that Fiji faces skills shortage. But what is more important is to identify the real causes. The shortage did not begin with the PALM or RSC schemes. These programs primarily recruit unskilled Fijian workers from mainly rural villages, while professional and skilled tradespeople migrate independently through skilled migration pathways. A key contributor, of course, to today's shortage was the closure of the technical colleges and the decline in technical vocational training for several years. Mr. Speaker, sir, when they opened the technical colleges, I've said this, alluded to this in this House. They opened the technical college in 2014, 15, and then they closed all those that were attached to the secondary schools. And in 2018, all of a sudden, 19, they closed all the technical colleges, and there was nothing left. So, and of course, in the process, taxpayers lost 30 million plus. This government has taken decisive action by reopening the technical colleges, reviving vocational centers, expanding apprenticeship, workplace attachments, and strengthening employment and workforce development programs to rebuild Fiji's skills pipeline. Mr. Speaker, sir, we also strengthened labor mobility through the PALM and REC schemes, enhanced worker welfare through the appointment of 5 country liaison officers. 0. Mr. Speaker, sir, these liaison officers, of course, look after our workers out there in Australia and New Zealand. We also have a reintegration program for the returnees, apart from the pre-departure training that we have strengthened. Mr. Speaker, sir, in occupational health and safety, the ministry reviewed the no jab, no job policy, and many were able to return to work. We supported Business Now Fiji in the building permit approval system to reduce the turnaround time substantially. We have progressed the Work Care Bill to modernize Fiji's workers' compensation framework with more focus on process efficiency and rehabilitation. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a result of this, we have saved government billions of dollars that were being paid to private service providers. The ministry has also accelerated digital transformation, the in-country recruitment database, local employment registration system, paperless labor inspection system, and is currently in the process of digitalizing around 36 occupational health and safety manual processes to improve efficiency and customer service. Regionally, Fiji strengthened its leadership by hosting the 2025 Pacific Regional High-Level Tripartite Employment Forum, the Pacific Senior Labour Officials Meeting, and the inaugural Pacific Labour Ministers Meeting, resulting in the Pacific Labour Ministers Charter, the Just Work Plan 2026 to 2030, and the proposal for an ILO Pacific cluster. Also represented Fiji. Fiji also represented Pacific Island ministers at the International Labour Conference. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2026-27 budget provides us with an opportunity not only to continue the momentum from the past 3 budgets, but to accelerate policies that will address skills shortage, strengthen productivity, improve workplace safety, create sustainable employment opportunities, and build a more competitive and resilient labor market for the future. Mr. Speaker, sir, the ministry has been allocated 14.9 million in the 2026-27 financial year. The allocation reflects government's confidence in the ministry's significant role in creating employment opportunities, improving labor market outcomes, promoting productivity, protecting workers, and supporting national economic development. Mr. Speaker, sir, while the ministry is proud of what has been achieved during the past 3 financial years, the 2026-27 national budget positions us to go even further in building a stronger and more resilient, globally competitive workforce. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to outline the key funding allocations under the ministry's 2026-27 budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, 4.92 million has been allocated to strengthen corporate governance, financial management, digital transformation, and operational support across the ministry. This includes the Batukola gold mine strike settlement, as well as funding digital transformation, ISO quality management systems, administration, and public awareness initiatives to improve the ministry's efficiency and service delivery. Mr. Speaker, sir, for improved enforcement and compliance with labor standards, the ministry has been allocated 1.91 million to continue safeguarding workers' rights and promoting fair, productive, and harmonious workplaces. Since January 2023, more than 10,000 workplace inspections and compliance audits have been undertaken. These enforcement efforts have led to the recovery of some $4 million in unpaid wages and employment entitlements for affected workers as at 30th March 2026. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget provides $100,000 specifically to undertake a review of the national minimum wage and the 10 sectorial wages. Mr. Speaker, sir, this exercise will commence soon. While the members of the opposition have been criticizing government for not taking care of workers, they have conveniently overlooked this one. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, on work safety and the ministry and health, the ministry receives 3.72 million. Yes, 3.72 million, sir, demonstrating government's continued commitment to protecting the health, safety, and well-being of Fiji's workers. Within this allocation, 1 million has been specifically provided for workers' compensation payout to injured workers and dependents of deceased workers. Mr. Speaker, sir, the ministry has been allocated 2.51 million to strengthen local and overseas employment opportunities, improve workforce readiness, expand digital employment services, and reintegration support for returning workers. Mr. Speaker, sir, in supporting good faith dialogue, the mediation services has been allocated $913,789 to strengthen continued promotion of peaceful industrial relations and timely resolution of employment disputes and grievances. Included within this allocation is 73,370 to strengthen mediation capacity through collaboration with the Singapore Mediation Center, supporting internationally recognized dispute resolution practices and reducing costly industrial disputes. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House would note that since taking office, our government has prevented any major strike. We have been able to resolve problems, disputes through this mechanism. Mr. Speaker, sir, the ministry has been allocated $899,358 to strengthen national productivity, labor market research, and workforce competitiveness. As Fiji faces growing skill shortages, the ministry will continue strengthening the labor market research, productivity initiatives, and employment services, while advancing labor law, workplace safety, and industrial relations reforms to support skilled, productive, and competitive workforce. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry also welcomes the introduction of a new 200% tax deduction for eligible employer expenditure on employing, training, and upskilling. This forward-looking incentive encourages employers to invest directly in the development of their workforce and recognizes that workforce development is a shared responsibility between workers, employers, and government. Mr. Speaker, sir, when businesses invest in people, productivity improves. Enterprises become more competitive. Workers earn more, and our national economy becomes stronger. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget demonstrates that even during difficult fiscal circumstances, government continues to prioritize investment in people. Every job created strengthens a family. Every safe workplace protects a worker. Every productive enterprise strengthens the economy. Every skilled worker strengthens Fiji's future. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry remains fully committed to delivering these outcomes efficiently, responsibly, and transparently. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I conclude, I would like to respond to some of the comments from our colleagues on the other side. Unemployment, Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry now has created a portal to register job seekers. And we are in the process of getting the portal for employers done. But as I speak, workers can come, any job seeker can come and register with our National Employment Center, and we find jobs for them to identify employers that are looking for workers. There was a lot of discussion on FNPF, reduction of 2%. Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2020, there was a reduction of 10%, from 18% to 10%, 5 worker, 5 employer. And it was, in 2022, it went up to 12%. 2023, 14%. 2024, we fully restored it to 18%. So I'm sure the Honorable Minister for Finance, when everything stabilizes, is going to revert to the normal rate of deduction of contribution. Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Lal, Honorable Chand, and a few others have been talking about us not caring about workers. Mr. Speaker, sir, the civil servants, the hourly paid workers, all of them are happy because of what we have done for them. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir, there was a comment made by Honorable Veyampille criticizing the FSC workers. Mr. Speaker, sir, all workers must be treated with dignity. All workers must be treated with dignity, whether they are senior staff or junior staff. In the previous administration, there were expatriate general managers or CEOs. They were paid around $1 million. Package, $750,000. One was staying in Denarau. $2,000 rent was paid by FSC. The current CEO is probably paid 25% of that. So our local workers are all there, and I implore people to respect them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I commend this budget to the House, and I reaffirm the Ministry's commitment to working with all partners to build a more productive, competitive, and prosperous Fiji. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.